Senator Romney, recognized for comments.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with all the statements that has been made. We don't want people in Congress trading stocks or playing the stock market. That's, if you will, the sheep's clothing over this wolf piece of legislation. What you're not talking about is that this has been drafted in a way that is really quite thoughtless, which is it requires divestiture for people who want to become a congressperson or a president or a vice president. And we had a briefing beforehand to talk about, does the bill deal with, for instance, private investments, private enterprises? And we were told, no, it doesn't. And in fact, it does. And that was corrected a day later. Staff sent a memo around saying they were incorrect. That actually does deal with private enterprises. What that means, for instance, is, let's say there's a family that incorporates their farm. All right, and they have a C Corp that incorporates the farm. Someone wants to run for political office, they got to sell it. They got to sell their interest. Have you thought about Donald Trump, for instance? Under this bill, he couldn't become president. I mean, he'd have to sell all of his Truth Social stock. He'd have to sell all of his private investments. This basically would prevent Donald Trump from becoming president if he wanted to maintain his financial assets without getting completely obliterated. So yeah, we don't want to have people trading stocks. Had the legislation been drafted to prevent that, I'd support it. But it calls for divestitures of all sorts of assets that people would have that will prevent them from running for political office. It is a wolf in sheep's clothing because it's been drafted in a thoughtless way. It makes us all very happy. By the way, it's not going to affect me one way or the other for two simple reasons. One is I don't have individual stocks. I bought mutual funds when I got into political office, because I didn't want to ever have anyone question whether I was working on behalf of the public or myself. And number two, I'm not running for office again, right? So it doesn't apply to me. I'm saying this as an American concerned about being able to attract good people into political office. And if we tell them, you've got to sell family businesses, whether public or private, you got to sell all your securities. These provisions are extraordinarily detrimental to being able to attract good people into public office. So it's a noble cause, which, by the way, is a messaging bill. This has been drafted in a way to say, look how tough we are, and we're gonna stop any kind of corruption. We don't have examples, by the way. Is this a solution looking for a problem? Do we have members of Congress trading in inside information, or presidents, or vice presidents? It's against the law if we do, all right? It's already against the law. So we have law to prevent this. But the idea of this legislation causing these massive divestitures of the candidate, his or her spouse, and their children, potentially family farms and other businesses, this has not been thought through. And while lots of people are going to vote for it because they want to be on record for opposing people trading in the stock market, that's not the problem with the bill. And it was not drafted in a way to focus on the real problem or potential problem. It was drafted in a way to be punitive and to keep Donald Trump from being president.